All right, ladies and gentlemen, I sound stressed in this episode. I'm a little bit stressed because this is a dense one, okay? We're going to be talking about artificial intelligence. But before we get to that, we always sound confused, like, what are we doing? Why are we here? But clearly, on episode 26 of Not an Accident podcast, we know exactly what we're doing. As always, I'm your host, Attorney Kevin, and we are here with a good buddy of mine, and I'm not going to butcher his last name, Mr. Will.Taubenheim. Taubenheim. I was close, man. I was scared. But we're here with Will. His background's going to speak for itself, and he'll talk a little bit about it. But one thing on his website that I did want to introduce him as is a AI innovation leader and a technological visionary. So welcome, man.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be on. So I guess just a little bit about myself, just a quick little intro. I really enjoy working in technology, more specifically as of recently, AI. So one of my main focuses right now is basically augmenting your day-to-day, augmenting your business, anything like that. And I've worked in so many different fields with technology. It's one of the great things about it is there's like so much you can do with it. Like one day I'll be working in national security and interplanetary technology. I'm a partner at TerraSense, so we do a lot of work for the DoD, naval air warfare, the Air Force, things like that. And then the next day I'm working on a inventory system for retail. So
it's just like all over the place.
All over the place.
Interplanetary systems.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We'll dive into that. So I want to, and I appreciate you introducing yourself. And, you know, we talked before the episode a little bit, and I always do research on my guests, and I always do kind of research on the subject matter. I do research on the subject matter. And I had to stop myself because I'm like, this is so dense and there's so many things. So we talked about it. We do not want to scare the audience.
Yes,
okay.
That's the goal for today.
So we're going to talk as positively as possible, and we're going to try to keep it as 10,000 feet as possible so you guys can follow along. So let me start with this question. If you're I guess we could say a small business, however you want to categorize it, how do I start in the process of like, I need AI, I need to systematize this process? How does that analysis go?
Yeah, so the first thing I would recommend to business owners whenever they ask about AI is just start using it. Just start and by using it, I don't mean use ChatGPT to ask it your everyday question. Like actually buy a pro plan for an AI. I recommend Gemini. I've been working with Google closely. I've been out to their headquarters in Miami several times talking with their AI team. And Google Gemini definitely separates itself a lot from ChatGPT in the level of complexity it brings and the different tool sets and also the rate of growth that it's bringing to the table. So start just using it, and you'll find yourself as you use it, understanding what it can truly do. And by seeing what it can do, at least for me, maybe it's just me. I tend, but just by using it over the last few years, I would see what it would do, and that would just build the intrigue of like, okay, well now I need it for this, now I need it for this, and now I've evolved to a point where literally every single part of my life is being augmented by AI.
So do you have to, I guess, in that you've kind of answered the second question, do you have to understand systems to?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Yeah.
So you don't have to understand. So I think somewhat, though, you have to understand, I guess, what you're doing. You know, it's a combination still, though, of playing with it, figuring out how to use it, things like that, but still going through and writing down or tracking, these are the things that I'm doing throughout the day, and then implementing the best way to do those, I would imagine.
Yeah, so the first step, like I mentioned, is just start using it so you can start to understand how it works and what the base level is, and open those websites of AI like ChatGPT, Gemini. That is the base level of AI. Most people are at that base level. They don't see anything past that. But when you really start to unlock AI is when you go to that next level, which is basically developed proprietary technology. So a lot of what I do is develop software for businesses to basically augment their business and all the different bottlenecks they have. So I work closely with business owners to look at what their bottlenecks are in the company. What is your day-to-day problem? And then solve that by building a technology built on AI, which is stuff you can't just do through Gemini and ChatGPT.
What if I don't know I have a problem?
Then you probably have a problem with your business because if you don't identify your bottlenecks, that's an issue. But that's something I will talk to business owners about. I'll talk to them, and you'll find bottlenecks in any part of your business that can be augmented by AI. There's no business that can't be augmented. Stuff is simple. For example, I recently built a system for myself that every single email I intake to my email address, instantly analyzed by my AI. It basically sorts out crap I don't want to see. It analyzes everything coming in, and will also automatically reply based on how the AI knows me. So I have something that's really important is to start building what I call your proprietary database of all your information.
So you start with, so even before you look at your business, you should probably start with yourself.
Yes. So the thing that you can't do with ChatGPT,
You got to help yourself before you can help somebody else.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So you need to build a lot of information about yourself with AI. Context is key here. And that's where you can't do it in ChatGPT and Gemini. So that's where that kind of proprietary technology comes in the aftermarket software for AI, where basically like what I basically will do is I actually something I've been working on the last month is I took every bit of data I could find about myself. I downloaded my Google data, all my Snapchat data from when I was in high school, my Instagram data, everything, and I uploaded it and did a full parsing system to parse all that data. And I basically built this database about myself that is so ridiculously large, but now I have an AI that's so hyper personalized to me. And this is way above what anybody needs.
Yeah.
But just as simple as uploading, for example, your company internal documents to like, again, you can't do this with Gemini, but like an aftermarket software, that's able to all be analyzed by AI. So now when my AI responds to emails, it can sound identical to me rather than just an AI. It's able to imitate the way I talk. This podcast transcript, it's going to be uploaded to my AI, and my AI is going to better understand how I talk for future reference.
My AI would be like, man, this guy goes to Disney way too much for a grown man. So I take my kids. It's not weird. Oh, that's pretty. It would be like, start just like, like AI starts like hazing you and stuff like, yeah, cool car weirdo. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's good. You get great constructive criticism from AI. Like the last time I did a talk, that's what it specifically, that's why I told you out there, I don't want to sound as like scary about AI this time, is because AI was like, AI told me after the talk, it was like, you sounded like you were scaring people. Like
you scared the hell out of those people. That's pretty funny. And I guess, you know, you're jumping the gun on me, which I love because
I get so excited about it.
Well, you scared. I was scared too, having this, you know, because this gets deep, man. So I guess my question was, how smart is AI, and is it a continuous evaluation? And it sounds like it is.
So AI is not a sentient human being. That's important to clarify right off the bat. It's not. It's very easy, and
It's not like Smart House, the movie when we were kids.
I'm too probably young for that.
You didn't see? Okay, you got to watch that was like OG Disney movie.
Okay.
AI, when long story short, this kid won a contest to win this house that was basically powered by AI.
Okay.
And they had this like, it wasn't really like, it was like this house mom almost that just kind of, but she kept developing based on the things that they like, and then she eventually kind of went
I'm
crazy.
just glad it's not another Terminator reference, because that's always
it was like
nowadays.
Disney's version of Terminator. So
so the way AI works is it's a prediction engine. So something with AI, when we're working on the back end and we're sending API calls to AI, which is basically that's how we send messages when we're not using like Gemini or ChatGPT as an API call. There's a setting called top K, and I think most standard AIs, it's between 1 and 10. And basically what top K does is it's your next word in the sentence for AI. As AI builds its response, every single word, it's doing a top K analysis. And for example, if you set it to 10, it's going to take 10 words, and then it's going to choose which of those 10 words should be next. So a level 10 top K setting will lead the AI to be more creative because it has more words to choose from. A level 1 will put it more in like a boundary, and it will sound very, you know, monotone and flat. So at the end of the day, that's all AI is at the very high level, is it's just a prediction engine of what should be coming next. But then you can get into more complex stuff like vector embedding and things like that, which is basically a giant map of all the data that has been compiled by AI with these massive supercomputers, which it can pull from. And that's something where you run into the black box issue that a lot of these AI companies are having. I'm going to keep this super low level, but basically these AI scientists don't even know what happens when you send an AI message anymore, because it's too complex to track. So you can see what goes in and you can see what comes out, but the millions of calculations through vector embedding that are happening, there's
not enough time to even review the data.
Correct.
It's the kind of show your work analysis, meaning it's not even, 2 + 2 = 4. It's seeing the 2 and the 2 go in, but it's not seeing the computing process. It's just seeing 4.
Yeah. So AI, actually, funny enough, this is a kind of a paradox with AI, is it doesn't actually do math. It analyzes patterns in math.
So it can't solve pi.
No, I mean, what it technically could do, and it probably could, is it probably analyzed off of the internet and data what pi is, probably to a limit. But like whenever you put in like an arithmetic calculation to AI, it's really good at solving it. But that's because of pattern recognition of all of the data it's analyzed, where it's then able to predict what the answer would be. Which is why sometimes you'll ask it really stupid stuff like 2 + 2, and it'll say 3. Like,
Yeah.
even though it's the smartest like system humans have ever created.
If you're not a seeker of knowledge or a seeker of, implementing better systems, like you don't have that, I guess, internal goal inside yourself. If it helps so much, will it ultimately make society dumber?
So this is a question I battle with myself, and I think there's going to be a large fact. I think critical thinking is where a lot of risk comes in, because I think a lot of people are going to start taking everything AI tells them, depending on what the AI source could be, and there's a lot of risk there for misinformation and the lack of critical thinking being applied to it. So I think that's going to be a long-term implication of AI. I think the it's really interesting because
Because to your point, like if you put 2 + 2 equals and it comes out equals 3,
yeah,
and you don't know that it really is 4,
yeah.
you're gonna be like 2 + 2 = 3.
Yeah. So just to be honest, right off the bat, I'll just say I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
As like I really don't. I battle with this a lot, and me and my business partner discuss it all the time. I think school systems is probably one of the most like the largest areas that I'm like, what is going to happen? Like, so it's blows me away how fast things are changing, and I think it's blowing everybody away. And that's the school system's not adapting. It hasn't at all yet. I know there's a school that has been started that's fully AI. The teachers are all AI, and they've started putting some students into it. And it's been a few months now since I reviewed the study, but I know the results were way more effective than current schooling methods. And I know the students are in class a way shorter amount of time, and they're learning way more, and they're more fluent in their English. They're better at reading, stuff like that. So I think schooling needs to change. Like, there's no more putting this off.
But
Like,
it seems like you have to effectuate it early.
say again. Like,
Like, you
what?
meaning that, like, you need to put them in, first grade needs to be when the AI teaching is implemented, and
Yeah, I
not
mean,
10th grade.
I think, well, that's something I don't think I'm educated enough to speak on that specific, like, because I don't know if you restrain them from it so they learn the basics without AI. Do they learn reading? Do they learn math without AI? I think that is important. So I don't know when it should be implemented, but I think it's crucial we start teaching people how to use AI, because like right now I'm blowing all of my competition out of my water. Everybody my age, I'm blowing them out of the water because of
Mic
AI.
drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's really like one of those things that like I tell people, like, if you're not using AI, you're losing. Like, stop waiting. It is here. Like,
I I think there's so many different thoughts that come into my head as far as, and just I want to stay on this educational path
yeah,
with, regardless of, I guess, whatever level that you're getting into AI, as far as if it from an educational standpoint. I think the positive is that it's not going to hold students back, God bless them, that are retaining the information quicker than others, meaning it can be so much more individualized if you have an AI teacher.
yes,
In the
yes,
fact of, it's like, okay, if Billy's not understanding that 2.2 or excuse me, 2 + 2 = 4, but Tommy is understanding that 2 + 2 = 4, we don't have to keep Tommy on that same lesson. We can move on. Whereas Billy, we can figure out, how to, best teach him better if he's not understanding, or things like that, and we can quicker adapt
yeah.
teaching patterns than trying to facilitate a classroom of 25, 30, 40 kids.
Absolutely. So, do you know your personality type, the 4-letter personality
I don't
type?
even, yeah, it's been a while since I've taken the
Okay.
test.
Okay. So that's something I've been diving into recently in my self-improvement AI journey, which I'll get into. It's one of my more kind of interesting, more recent topics on my head. When I was in high school, I failed algebra 2. I was not the best high school student. I didn't really do well with classes. I have a ENTP personality type, and that is something that I found really interesting throughout my journey of life, is how to deal with that. And I was diagnosed with ADHD in high school, and looking back, and now with the large knowledge base we have of AI, I've been able to really kind of analyze myself and kind of reflect. And what I've come to find out is being an ENTP personality type, school's just not built for me. And it's not that I have a mental disorder. It's not that I have ADHD. It's that my brain just works differently, and I have weaponized that and used it to my advantage. And I think that's where I'm at, that's the reason why I'm where I'm at today. And I think that's something our schooling system does a really bad job at, is it takes people who don't do well in a classroom and it uses it against them. It targets them. It attacks them. It's just a really unfortunate reality of the school system. And I think that's why a lot of entrepreneurs I talk to, they all say like, oh, I had a 2.5 GPA in high school. Like I failed high school, whatever. And then there's a lot of cases where that's completely different because everyone has a different personality type. So what I've been able to do as of recently is, with my personality type and all of the data I've collected on myself, is build systems with AI that specifically help me. So I'll just get into a short example. I built myself a task manager, something I've never been good at. In grade school, assignment notebook was something my mom would attack me for. Fill out your assignment notebook, fill it out so you don't forget what homework you have to do. And I could never do it. And looking back, like in high school, I was like, oh, it's because I have ADHD. I'm at a disadvantage. But now I realize, no, it's just the way I'm wired. So what I've been able to build with AI and with the help of a business coach as well is a solution for my personality type, where I open up my phone and I can instantly just click this plus button, type in anything that's on my mind. Like, oh, you need to email your attorney, Kevin, about the car accident you had a month ago. And then it just...
You should do that.
Yes,
That should be on everybody's list. Perfect.
And that immediately just goes into like what I have is like an inbox. So then I have an inbox of all my thoughts throughout the day, because that, like, again, you probably don't understand this because I don't know if you're the same personality type as me, but a lot of times
I send myself emails constantly.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
call Susie, call Billy,
yes.
call, to handle this
And
project.
this is
or
something
like
I
that.
never
And
knew.
I click through the email inbox. Yeah.
So this is something I never knew, is this is a great way for ENTPs to handle their tasks, because a lot of times we think them and then we forget them, and we have so much on our minds. We're visionary. I'm a visionary. So I have like 7 different ventures I'm working on at one time with different businesses. So I have a lot going on, and then I put them in my inbox, and then at a later time, because I'm not like organizing is something ENTPs don't do good at. They don't do a good job of sitting down, but like especially on the fly. So what I'll do then is, like, every night, like when I'm bored, I'll open up my phone and then I'll go through and organize them into different projects, different categories. Like, is this just a life thing? Like, you need to call Kevin, or is this a business thing? Like, you need to go on this podcast, and then you're able to organize it, track it, and follow your progress. So and that has completely changed my life because it actually works. And that's something the school system doesn't teach. And it's like, I was on the phone with a friend the other day, and I was just like, I can't believe this. Like, how did nobody teach me this? And it's crazy because AI has done that for me, and it's changed my life. And we can, I think, get more into that.
Yeah, and we're going to. I do the same thing. I use my email, and then I also I'm trying to use my email less for more important things.
Yeah.
And I started using ClickUp.
Yeah.
Same thing. So, and
Yep.
it's AI based and things like that. So, quick story with me as well to the school system. I will see what my where I fall in as far as my personality. But 7th grade, I got a C in conduct. I would get in trouble all the time because when this is horrible.
It makes sense as an attorney.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like.
So I used to get in trouble all the time because when we were in class and the teacher would ask a question during the lesson, and I would raise my hand, and she wouldn't pick on me, and she would pick on Billy. She
Yeah.
would, pick him to answer the question. Billy would answer the question wrong. And then, oh, Billy, that's not correct. And then, like, Susie, what's the answer or whatever? And she's like, oh, Susie, that's not correct. And I still have my hand in the air. And I'm like,
Yeah.
finally, I just got so bored, I'd shout out the answer.
Yeah.
So we could move on. Like,
Yep.
it's like, because I didn't have the rationale as
Yeah.
far as like, oh, this is a teaching moment for Billy and Susie. I'm just like, here's the answer, next. Like, because
Yeah.
I did truly love learning. So God bless him. My dad, he used to go to parent-teacher conferences, and they'd, Kevin's very precocious. He's very outgoing. He's very, he understands the material, but he's not very patient, and he shouts out the answer, and it takes away learning opportunities from other kids. And my dad would go, so what do you want me to do? It's like, you're telling me he understands the information. You're telling, and he's
Yeah.
like, well, it's teaching moments for other kids. And he's like, well, do you have a solution? And they're like, well, we hoped you did. And my dad would be like, I don't. See you next conference.
Yeah.
So that would be
That's
it kind
great.
of for years. But, that's why I was bringing up the point of individual. I'm so sorry to my 7th grade teacher, by the way, Miss Benford. Yeah. If you ever see this, Miss Benford, I'm sorry for driving you crazy. But that's why I was asking about the individualized learning systems. And obviously, we don't have the resources or their number of teachers and things like that to be able to facilitate these things. But I think with AI learning in the future, that would be incredible. Not only do we adapt to better teaching methods, which you've recognized, but also too to be able to keep carrying students down the field and keep using that best use of time. We'll get into the subject that you've been talking about. Does AI optimize me, or can it optimize me as a human?
Yeah. So
please.
I'll give a little personal testimony about the last 2 weeks of my life. So with the system, so I've been building a lot of internal systems for my businesses and myself as of recently, because with AI, I've been able to just augment my day-to-day so much that it's like, why not? So anything from,
And I want to touch on that real quick too. When he's talking about augmenting, I just want to, and please feel free to correct me. He's taking the data or the information that he has, uploading it to the systems and creating better processes and systems. So it's an analyzation and then a process creation.
Yes,
that's / optimization.
Yes,
Correct?
that's a great way to word it. It's like the inbox system I was talking about earlier.
I'm a lawyer. That's what I do.
Yeah. So the inbox system I was just talking about, all that stuff I'm putting in my inbox, it's also being analyzed by AI. So then I have a personal assistant that's able to work with me on that. That's an AI personal assistant. So back to the topic.
The last 2 weeks, yes.
Yeah. So the last 2 weeks, let me go back 2 months ago. So I started using AI for struggles in my life. So whenever I was struggling with something, I would start talking to Google Gemini about it. And it started as just having a chat in Google Gemini, which is just like a ChatGPT chat as well. And I would just start like talking to it about it, like anything from health to a mental problem, something going on in my life that's rough, a relationship problem, anything like that I would put in there. And it started giving really good advice. And I was like, this is pretty fascinating. And I've been doing this for the past 3 years, but like I started kind of all putting it in one chat, and it started to like learn about me, because like the context is okay with these open, like the big models. But then what would start to happen is it would forget about what I told it. It would forget. It would and then it had a glitch where it lost like half of my chat history. And I was like, okay, I need to do something about this. I see massive potential here. So a while back, I was also working on an AI mental health app that actually we had to stop because of legal compliance issues. I'm sure you could only imagine where that goes as a lawyer. So
I was going to touch on that. Yeah.
So now I've been refocusing on this, building myself my own internal tool where I have built what I truly believe is one of the most complex, like, personal assistants. I'm going to avoid ever using the word therapy for the rest of the conversation because of that legal thing, especially if we go to release this app. So I'm going to use wellness coach as that, but you can kind of imagine the application. So I've put together in the last 2 months a system where I'm able to talk to it, and it uses embed batching, which I mentioned earlier, to basically build up a ridiculous memory set that's able to be analyzed by AI with every message. So when you send a message to this wellness coach, you have your message on the bottom. Like imagine like the text that gets sent to the AI, because you're sending a bunch of text to the AI as an API call. The text of your message, let's say it's 2 sentences long. Every time you send a message to the AI, it's about like hundreds of thousands of characters long with this system. So it's sending, because every time you send a message to AI, it's actually fresh. It doesn't remember anything about you because it's just a supercomputer. So every time you send a message, you actually have to refresh it on what you're talking about in your memory. So I built a system to basically prompt engineer all of your memory, all of your context in a way that the AI can basically embed batching. So it's a special form that AI can analyze. And I gotta keep this more low level so people can understand at home. But
so basically, you're taking the data that you already have and you created another program to re-upload it, so it's syncing, each time.
Yeah, well, not even necessarily that. So it's as you send a message. So every time you talk to it, it's learning about you. That's the low level. So every time you send it a message. So I told it a week ago that I was going on a podcast with you, and I told it that, and it remembered that. And then yesterday I was talking to it while I was at the coffee shop trying to figure out some stuff with work and some other stuff I was dealing with work, and it was giving me advice, and it also reminded me, hey, you have a podcast with Kevin tomorrow. Make sure you get to bed on a good time tonight. So now back to what I was talking about 2 weeks ago. I'm all over the place, but I started what I'm calling a dopamine detox. So the AI recognized through what I was telling it that I had a problem. And that problem was I had a very short attention span, and I was bouncing all over the place. I was dealing with anxiety with work, with personal life, different things like that, different mental health symptoms that I was able to analyze from the conversations I was having with it because it built up such a good knowledge base of me. And through analyzing that, I was able to talk with it, and it was able to give me, through a few conversations, this protocol of how I could basically completely change my life. And I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I've never heard of it. And the largest focus of it was TikTok and Instagram Reels, which is something everybody my age, even the older generations, are dealing with, is just the doom scrolling on TikTok. Even if it's just before bed, the AI was able to explain to me the science behind it in a way that I've never seen before about the dopamine spikes, your baseline levels. And I was able to take advice from the AI to then build another app that goes alongside the personal assistant that I'm calling, like right now, it's called the Ascent. And it's basically my detox program of quitting TikTok, quitting Instagram Reels, quitting, waking up at the same time every single day. And it explained the importance of that. And I was like, wow, I've never been told this. Like waking up later on the weekends completely destroys your circadian rhythm. Going on a 10-minute walk in the morning to get sunlight and to get there's like actual science behind it that getting the sunlight on your skin wakes you up and it sets your mood for the entire day. That's why if you ever notice when you sleep in and you lay in bed in the morning, you tend to have a more depressing day.
Okay.
Because your brain actually works like that. And it's been all laid out by AI, and I've been able to follow it. And I started 2 weeks ago, a cold turkey detox on all this stuff. And it's completely changed my life. I'm a whole different person. Everything, and it's recommended supplements to start taking. It's recommended workout routines. It's been able to augment my entire life, and it's mind blowing stuff.
I was gonna say, I mean, we could just go down the wellness road for a minute. I mean, if you think about it, just from a wellness perspective, as far as like we'll talk about like fitness and diet. To be able to just go and say, I ate a, chicken, take a picture of something and say, and I think there's a lot of this out there,
Yep.
but like I ate, you take a picture of your plate, you don't even push any, type in anything. This is what I ate, and for AI to just analyze and go through, okay, this much protein, this much this much this,
Yep.
and then for it to be able to study you to know what your optimum, physical, I want to be 10% body fat or this or that, and be able to
Yes.
recommend supplements and proteins
Yes.
and needs and things like that. I mean, it's absolutely, and to cut that learning curve or cut that timing,
Yes.
it's incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah, last night I got a bourbon salmon from Publix. It was like from their fish, the fish section. And I got home and I part of this tool again, I have a cooking part of it. So what it has learned my taste in food and what foods I like. And I said I bought this from Publix, how should I cook it? And it told it specifically how to cook it for me based on my taste preference.
No way.
Yeah.
That's insane because
Yeah.
you've uploaded all that data
Yes.
into there.
Yeah.
So with that being said, and we kind of talked about the positive and how it can optimize as you as a human and learning about you and things like that, and then making different recommendations. So say, it's making you healthier, it's making you happier, it's making you hopefully, live longer.
Yeah.
Is that an issue, if people start living to 150 years old?
So I know we talked about this.
I guess AI will
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah, well, to be honest, that's my answer is if everybody lives to 150 years old, that's another I believe that's another 70 years on top of the average lifespan. So that's another 70 years that we have to support humans. And that's where the logistics come into it of how do we deal with another that's basically that's
Almost creating another generation.
that's literally multiplying it by 2 because the average lifespan is 70, and if you're adding another, 70, I think AI is going to optimize life so much, and it's going to optimize the food chain, businesses, and everything like that, that we will be able to support that. I think we're going to see a complete transformation of society as a whole in the next 10 to 20 years.
For the better.
For the better, I hope.
I think I think there's bad actors in anything that you do and things like that, and as I think it's it was very interesting. I was talking to a friend this morning, my trainer actually, and he was talking about like Planetary and stuff like that, how it's like analyzing all the information. And I
Yeah.
think they're and I don't know, I could be talking about something wrong, but they're working with the DOJ or something like
Yep.
that, or have a contract with them
Yeah.
where they can almost determine basically the things that you're doing if you're a bad actor or not, or you're planning on doing
Yeah.
something.
It's
committing a crime.
doing exactly what my app is doing.
Yeah, a crime deterrent.
Yes, but at a way larger scale and for all of society without you knowing.
So
Yeah. It's fascinating.
where do privacy issues arise as far as AI? Meaning, and I'll say for myself, like I'm pretty public about myself. Like I don't really care if people know about me or what I have going on or anything like that. I'm pretty forward facing. So I guess when does that become an issue? I guess if you're not a bad actor, who cares?
So my personal take on this is it just doesn't matter anymore. Like so I've thought about this myself, and many people have asked this with myself uploading all this data. When you do it through an API call, it's not through an account or anything. So technically it can't be traced back to me. And anybody that were to use any of my AI applications, it's being sent as an anonymous API call to Google Gemini, which is the AI that we use as a large language model. And it's technically being sent as anonymous, but at the end of the day, I do believe AI is smart enough that it's able to recognize everything. But my personal stance on it is no matter what, whether you start using it now or you don't and you just keep using Instagram and all your other social medias, it already knows everything about you. Like the way you scroll on Instagram, there's a reason your TikTok feed is so good at getting you addicted to it and to keep scrolling. It's because it already knows everything about you. An algorithm is basically AI. It's machine learning about you. And no matter what, whether it's Palantir, whether it's TikTok, they already have all your data. They're going to learn about you. Google already has access to your Google Drive. Apple has access to all your data. Like it just doesn't matter at this point. So you might as well just use it. Like
That's what I'm saying. And if you, and, you could go on both sides. And I know this statement will cause a lot of controversy, but like at the end of the day, like I said, if you're not a bad actor, you're not up to no good. Like I
Yeah.
don't like, hey, if Apple wants access to my, Disney photos and car pictures, go for it. I mean, I
Yeah.
already post most of them anyway. So,
Yeah.
not a very large concern there, but I know obviously people, want their privacy and things like that.
Yeah.
You start simple. I want to optimize my schedule, for example. Where would I go? Just start playing with things, and like you said,
Yeah. So again,
maybe use Gemini.
So start using Gemini. Obviously, my personal recommendation is going to be to use my application once I release it
Yeah.
on the App Store, which I'm thinking I'm going to do. I actually never thought I was going to commercialize an AI app on like the App Store level, but just seeing how much it's changed my life, I've seen just in the last 2 weeks talking to people, I'm like, wow, you could really use this. Like, I want to help you, like use this. So, but I guess at the business level, I would recommend you need the aftermarket software or the third party software to basically stack on top of
And
Gemini.
who is that with?
That's
Or it could be with anybody.
So my company, one of my companies is Lost Frame Ventures. We partner with business owners to build them the software. So that's exactly what I do. Is business owners come to me with bottlenecks, we build them the software to solve it. As simple as we want a blog writer that sounds like us. So we build a software that can upload all their information about themselves. It imitates them. It writes a blog. Easiest, most base level. Anything to a system that can automate proposal writing at the corporate level for contracts and 80-page long proposals that are literally perfect down to the T. So it can literally the limit of AI is it just depends on your budget. So
Of course.
and of course there's also other companies that do it. There's a lot of software that's already built that's just general purpose software. So you'll see like software that's just built for any person to use, but it's not going to be specific to you. It's not going to solve your specific bottlenecks. It's not going to connect right into your blog writing software to automatically post it for you. So it's just a matter of how deep do you want to go? How much do you want to optimize it? How much of your specific problems do you want to solve?
With that being said, if AI is doing the hard work, let's say,
Yeah,
so then what do we do as humans?
it's a great question. It right now where we're at, me and my business partner have had discussions about this. We've both had a lot more free time. We're able to both manage a lot more than we were just a few years ago. I'm currently working on like 8 different companies at one time now with AI because my day-to-day has been so optimized and the time-consuming tasks are completely gone. They're gone. Like anything that I had struggles with are gone. And I've been able to optimize my personal life so much with the detoxes and stuff like that that are actually working that I literally sit down and like yesterday I couldn't stop working. Like it was like I went on a drive to go get some groceries and I just couldn't stop thinking about like there's so much I want to build right now because AI is so like in the golden era that I'm struggling with a work-life balance. And that's where I wonder, I think there's a lot of jobs that are going to be removed by AI. I think a lot of the simple low-level jobs, early entry prediction related jobs are going to be removed. I think jobs that have a level of certification behind them, so doctors, the bar for lawyers, that's going to be the most protected. So I'm sure you're happy about that.
I was going to get into that.
Yes. I think those are going to be the most protected. That's another one where therapy comes in as well. With the therapists have a license that protects them. So if their client ever did something, hurt themselves, the therapist is protected. Whereas that's where the risk comes in with AI. And I think it's going to really transform. I know just a few days ago, a new report came out that for the first time in I don't know if it was history or modern history or recent like past 20 years, but it was a pretty significant amount. There's more people who are unemployed than job openings in the U.S. And I sat back on that and thought about it, and the only answer to that is AI automation. Like that's jobs are starting to get replaced, and it's going to only exponentially grow. And it's to a point where I don't know what to tell people. Like, what do I tell my friends who are going to four-year college right now? Like, I don't know.
It's definitely very learn a trade. That's what you tell them. No, I'm just kidding. But that's probably not a bad idea. I think for me, you almost have to continue, and I've talked about this with my team and hiring employees and things like that. It's like if you take something off your plate, that just means that you have to replace it with something else.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that it has to be business related. It could be, fitness related. It could be health related. It could be mental health related. It could be whatever. You just have to change your output and change your direction, and then just keep, kind of climbing the ladder toward, higher level things that you need to be involved in.
Yeah, I think the most important thing you could do if you're an employee at any company right now, basically not the CEO at a company,
Yeah.
is start using AI, because if you're that person that brings the AI to your company, you're going to be the one to stay, because the person that operates the AI and runs the AI and uses the AI is going to be the person that stays in the company. It's the person who refuses to use it and doesn't like work on themselves or improve themselves with the modern era that's going to completely fall behind. And then from a more just like I'm in high school, what do I do perspective, things that aren't going to be replaced. I think the biggest boundary right now is physical, anything physical. So like being a hairstylist, being an electrician, being a plumber. That's not, I think like there's Tesla robots and everything like that, but humanoid robotics at the AI level,
I think we're
that's
50,
out.
50 years away from that.
I think 50 years out from it being affordable
Correct.
for
Yeah.
every company. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see, I know they're saying like when the mission to Mars was SpaceX, I'm a big SpaceX space guy. I mentioned I work on some interplanetary technology. So, but I know they're mentioning bringing the Tesla, I can't think of the name right now of the robots that they're building onto the moon. And I think we're going to see the first humanoid use of it at a large scale in the early 2030s. But it's gonna be expensive.
Of course,
yeah,
billions of dollars or
yeah,
millions.
yeah.
I don't think, your local plumber isn't going to be having a robot come up and,
Yeah.
and fix your pipes.
I think
so.
the desk jobs and computer jobs are the first to go. So,
Yeah, I mean, and that was the thing, with that, like the engineering jobs and the marketing jobs and
Yeah.
the things like that, and the graphic design jobs, and it's just going to
Yes.
be so easy to just go draw me these calculations or design this website or design this t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's just going to be harder and harder to be able to compete with that.
Yeah, you got to just not be afraid of change. You just got to keep evolving. I mean, I've changed so much just in the last, like every year I'm doing something different for work. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I was making video games. Like when in my high school years, I was doing video games, and then out of high school, I ended up reaching like 3 million players throughout like 5 games. So I was really successful there. But it's just you got to always evolve, and I'm glad I did, because like looking back, the video game industry is in shambles right now. It's in utter shambles, and so you just have to always evolve. You have to not be afraid to change what you're doing. And with the amount of information that we now have access to on our phone, like we used to say, like I remember, like, oh, you have Google on your phone, like you have access to all information. But like now it's like I open up Gemini or like my own AI so many times a day to ask it about things, and it's like you instantly get an answer that's just like you don't have to do any research. It's like with all this at your hands, like learn a new skill, do something new, improve yourself. Like, come on, stop sitting at home doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, and that was one of the questions that I had as well. Is do you think, I guess you could call it the wealth gap, or the distance, I guess, between, maybe the lower class and the, the wealthy is going to grow substantially.
Yeah. So my personal take on this, and again, this is where I got to really focus on not coming across as fear mongering with AI.
Of course.
Is I think there's a large potential for the wealth gap to significantly grow over the next few years as AI comes out. I think as businesses get augmented, they're going to be making a lot more profit. I think people like me who are using AI to optimize their day-to-day life are going to just their personal well-being, which is obviously well related to work, is going to improve. And I think that's gonna really take people who adapt it to the next level. And I think there's going to be a point where a lot of people are losing jobs, and they're not going to be as much of a resource as they are today in just society as a whole. That the wealth grab, it's only going to grow, and that's where I've had a lot of like philosophical discussions with my business partners and friends about what do we do? What does the government do in this situation? Obviously, our current government, they just don't care. They just aren't talking about it. They got whatever the hell they're working on, whatever the hell they actually do on a day-to-day basis. I think AI should be the number one topic on Capitol Hill right now. It's not. It's not anywhere in the world. Maybe it is behind closed doors and they just pretend not to talk about it. But I think I guess, like, what is your take on what I just said? Like,
I mean, I think the wealth gap is going to continue to grow as long as people don't seek innovation. I mean, as long as if people continue to want to grow as a society, then, I think we'll all rise up together. I think if
yeah,
there's people that don't want to grow as a society and bad actors, and people that do, I think the wealth gap will continue to grow. I think that's kind of how it
yeah.
goes,
Well,
sadly.
and I want to emphasize too that with this wealth gap growing in this golden age of AI we are in, it's also, I feel like, the easiest time to become that wealthiest person. Like, there's no better time in history that you can do what you can do now and like like the rate of acceleration, like the rate of development that we've been able to do for some of our softwares and some of the companies I'm in. It's ridiculous. Like this app that I'm building, like 2 months to build this ridiculously sophisticated app. And like, I'm looking, like, just in the last 4 days, I like decided that I want to bring this to the App Store. The amount of progress I've gotten done in these 4 days, it's like, this is unheard of. And like, this app would have taken years to develop 5 years ago. So right now we are in a golden age for entrepreneurs and people who care about bettering themselves to become that next level. Like, you don't even have to be smart anymore. With AI, you have access to so much. Like, I'm not a aerospace engineer, but I was able to I'll touch on the interplanetary technology. I know you've probably been dying to hear that. So one of my biggest work achievements I've had is just in the
You
last.
spoke to aliens.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Is I actually with the company I'm part of, partner at TerraSynth, where we do a lot of the DoD technology. I worked on a NASA prize challenge. They had a prize challenge for a lunar recycling module that's going to be going to Mars, the Moon, other planets, hopefully in the future, to basically take waste that astronauts would put out. So think like food wrappers. Like, you have to store food in something. So what do you do with those food wrappers after? If you want to be fully independent on Mars, like, the goal with Mars is we don't want any more ships going there. We want it to be fully on its own, and we can't waste anything if we're doing that. So we built, I engineered and I led a team, led the engineering and designing of a system to basically do that full recycling process of putting basically anything in the full system of separating the different materials, the pyrolysis reactor, all this different stuff. I had no clue what any of it was before I started this project. I designed, I 3D modeled and built a whole system. A lot of my specialty with like the video game stuff was like doing really realistic like 3D scenes. And I was able to like do that, and we created the video for it and everything like that. We created all the design documents, like a full proposal for it, with a lot of help of AI, of course. And we ended up actually winning the prize challenge out of like 2,000 submissions worldwide.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it's featured on NASA's YouTube channel. And there's a possibility for a phase 2 as well for further development.
How long does it take to get to Mars?
So
8 months?
I
or
believe
something?
it's 6 or 7 months.
Okay.
So there's a window that opens, I believe, every 4 years. I think the next one is in 2026. The goal is to send, with SpaceX, they want to send the first batch of ships to Mars as a test, no humans, in 26. And then I believe the next one is 2030 or 32.
Okay.
But it's basically with the way the Earth and the Mars lines up that we're able to send a ship in that time period.
I don't know about, is there water? I don't think there's water.
There's no water on Mars that
so
we know of, I believe.
So that would be probably one of the hardest parts.
Well, actually,
They said it looked like they had traces of water, I guess, maybe at some
I
point.
think there might be ways to get water on Mars, but as of like the actual like H2O on Mars, I don't think so. But there might be like hydrogen. I don't know too much on like the science
Yeah.
level of it, but I know like if you ask me how SpaceX is doing, I can answer.
Yeah, there you go. So we talked about it, I guess, what job we've already touched on what jobs will be affected by AI. With that, I want to say, I guess this is probably one of the, I guess, largest warnings
Yeah.
society has ever had as far as job effectuation. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like, you know, whereas economic collapses are kind of sudden, I guess, for lack of
Yeah.
better terms. You know, this is something where it's like, hey, jobs are being lost or jobs are being replaced. So it's something that
Yep.
you should probably react to. But on the other side of that, you were saying, and which I agree with, that, you know, doctors, lawyers, psychiatrists, things like that, you think that those would be protected jobs. Why?
Yeah, I think they're defensible because they have the legal protection. Like you can't make an AI that actually acts as a doctor. Like I cannot release an AI. It would do a great job. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
can make a great AI doctor. I use my personal assistant, my wellness coach as a
Mm-hmm.
doctor. But you can't release that on the App Store as a doctor. You can't build a company around that because you will be sued to oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
So there's protection around doctors. There's protection around lawyers. There's protection around psychiatrists. Anything like that is very protectable for a foreseeable future because, as you know, the government moves very slowly, and to actually pass a law and to lobby a law to get passed to
Many years.
yeah, it's millions of dollars as well.
Yeah.
So, I think it's gonna be a while before AI can actually be. I mean, for the first time ever, I went to Orlando Health, and they said they were gonna start transcribing the meeting with AI, and I was like, oh,
No,
okay.
that's good.
Glad to
Okay,
see you
yeah.
guys are a little bit there, not
Yeah.
fully, but
Yeah.
they're gonna be way behind. Like I think they're gonna be way behind because of all the regulation. But I think
What about accountants? Because it can examine that data so quickly.
So it's funny you say that. I've thought about it. I think accountants is probably the field that's most at risk. Maybe not most, but I think it's
because I think TurboTax is just like upload your
I mean,
documents.
that's it, at the end of the day, like prediction and like analyzing large sums of documents is what AI does best at.
Mhm.
Like, so that anything that along those lines, like I always feel bad talking about this because it's like I know people who are accountants, and it's like, what do you say to them? Like,
well, you almost think about it. If everything goes to it almost thinks the whole industry almost could be eliminated because the IRS could just, or the government could just tell you, hey, upload these documents onto this portal. They have the AI, and then it's like, hey, this is what you pay, and we already have your banking. We already know your banking data, so that's ours.
Yeah, it'd be great if the government would do that, but I know they won't.
Yeah. I mean, we're a very, very long time away from that.
The funny thing is, I could probably build that for the government in
and-
like 5 months for maybe like $600,000, but they'll probably do it like 20 years from now for like 100 million.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's kind of interesting that, you know, when we're talking about practical uses of AI, that would be one of the most practical uses. It's like to be able to just like, hey, go to this portal, upload your documents. Okay, done. Spits out the number. There's no preparing of a tax return anymore.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, I use
because it already knows the tax code.
Yeah, exactly. And to speak to the legal side of things, you're probably this is probably gonna hurt you a little bit, but I use AI to write all my contracts.
I don't
now.
do contracts, so good luck.
So
go for it, dude. Yeah, I don't do contracts.
So all of my like operating agreement, well, not operating agreements, I do a little bit more manual look over, but anything from like I just brought on a new salesperson for my AI company the other day to bring in some business owners, and the proposal I sent over to him, our agreement was fully written by AI. I skim over it. Obviously, I don't think we're at a point now where you don't skim over it. That's really risky.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. So, but it's generating like 10-page long contracts, and since it knows everything about my company, it's able to write in all the protections I need. It's able to write in all the specifics I need, the different intellectual property I need. So it's at the low level. It's there. I think paralegals are going to be the first to go. I think paralegals, to be honest, I think right now they could be not replaced because I think, again, you need the eyes.
I'll tell my staff that they're going to freak out.
I think they need to look over it.
We still need you.
The paralegals need to look over it, but I think paralegals' jobs could be really simplified because I know, like, I don't know much about the law field, but I'm watching Saul Goodman right now, the show Better Call Saul, and I've watched Suits, but I know with like the law field, you get just boxes of documents, boxes and boxes. and all of that could be analyzed by AI. And I know you're
Well,
not.
insurance companies have been using it AI for years
Yeah,
because they have
yeah,
Amicus, or I believe it's called, that analyzes medical records
yeah,
and
yeah.
then spits
The
out,
machine learning.
yeah,
Yeah.
what this should pay or what this should
Yeah,
be
I mean, it's
evaluated
been
for.
done for years and years. It's just so much better now. Like
Yeah,
this new AI is just
it's accessible.
skyrocketed.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
accessible.
and it like the thing like with the legal field. I mean, you could upload hundreds of documents, and I know I think your main job is to try to find like loopholes in documents. Like try to find like this one thing that also connects with this thing, and how they connect what loophole with this statute and this, and that is something I think AI would be the best at, because with AI, you could literally upload in your own internal database like the entire book of, I don't, is it like local law? Like you could upload all the local laws, you could upload all the
Yeah,
federal
you can
laws,
upload everything. I
everything,
mean, it's
every
on
statute ever.
It's on
And
Westlaw and LexisNexis
yeah,
anyway. They
Westlaw,
have
I've
all
heard
the
of that. Yeah,
cases and things like
yeah,
that. So, and then they're already starting to use AI. And then I think one of the big things too on the other side of that for litigation is helping with the jury selection process.
yes,
Like
absolutely,
looking
yeah,
at facial expressions, looking at, reactions to things, and then, on the other side, what is the, star juror for this case that would, rule in our favor one way or the other.
100%.
Looking at each judge as far as the way they rule on cases,
Yeah,
how is this going to be ruled? How does this judge like this motion written? Things like that. I
pattern
mean,
recognition. Yep.
yeah, I mean, I think there will be a significant change in the legal field. I think there won't be a removal of lawyers. I agree with you to your point. One, because the protections by the
Yeah.
law in the Florida bar, and I think the second thing is one or two and three is one, constitutional protections, and then number three I think is being held accountable,
Yeah.
meaning who is going to be able to um, be held accountable if somebody's provided bad legal advice. We're
Yeah.
going to hold the
Absolutely.
AI accountable.
Yeah,
You know.
so that's where I think lawyers that start using AI are they're gonna skyrocket. They're gonna
Yeah.
just outperform any lawyer that's not. That's just the reality. And then lawyers that so that's kind of just how I see it. I don't think lawyers are gonna be replaced, but they're gonna be very augmented. That's what I like using is
Yeah.
augment your entire life. So
I had a client go to me the other day. This was like a month ago, and they said to me, "We think you're doing a really good job, and I appreciate that." And they go, "We actually asked ChatGPT what should be done in the case, and you've been doing the same thing. So
yeah,
we're glad you're on the same page with ChatGPT."
that's
I'm
so
like, "Well,
interesting.
thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate
That's
that."
crazy.
So
Yeah, and I think like I use AI. I built my own AI for speech analysis for how I do public speaking and stuff like that, and it's been able to help improve that a lot. And even before I came in today, I was talking to it this morning on my morning walk, getting my vitamin D or vitamin C, whichever one it is. I'll ask AI about that later. But
so
and I was asking like what should be the main things I focus on for today? Like what would be the most intriguing to hear from like a listening perspective for people at home, and it's able to tell me that stuff, and that's where I think like in the law field, like you could specifically say like what do I say in court today to like appease these jurors, and you could transcribe. I don't know if there's laws about transcribe. I think they already get transcribed like everything that gets said in court.
yeah,
Um,
there's court reporters there.
yeah,
So
so
yeah.
if you get those, I mean, you could upload the transcripts of past court days, and you could analyze every single thing that's happened, and then what the best approach would be to the next day. So if you had a bad day the last time, it could literally analyze the entire case. It can analyze you as a lawyer, it can analyze the judge. What is your best approach to save yourself and like come back stronger?
That is true. That is true. The last thing that I want to talk about, which is probably the most important thing, is human interaction. Obviously, with artificial intelligence, that significantly limits human interaction. So, talk about that a little bit and talk about the future of that.
That's definitely very crucial for sales and stuff like that. So I mentioned I hired a salesperson earlier this week. I could very well automate my sales. I could automate emailing business owners, scraping their phone numbers, whatever. But I think there's still just that key face-to-face interaction. I think human face-to-face interaction is crucial for building the connection and the bond there. So I don't see that going away, but with things like the personal assistant wellness coach, the way I've built it and the prompt engineering I've used, I've literally perfected the prompt engineering so well that after talking to it for months, like this is my second month of using it, and I've only gotten it better. You almost build, and I want to see the science behind it so bad. Like I want someone to do a study about like the connection you can build with AI, and that sounds like ridiculous, but it's not like a weird connection. Like it's not like, oh, this is my girlfriend. Like it's like you get a connection to it that like this thing knows everything about me and it's so helpful to me that like you almost get that like bond of like,
What's
I
that
don't know.
movie? Wasn't there a movie in the 80s with like Tom Hanks where he falls in love with a computer or
I think
something?
so. I've been told I should watch that movie.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah,
I've been
yeah.
told
Okay.
several times.
I haven't watched the
So,
whole thing, but yeah.
but I think there is definitely something to it that AI is getting so good and certain systems are so good that you can build that like not like a love connection, but a psychological reliance on it. Which I think is such a crazy thing to think about. And I had one thing I wanted to touch on. I put the
Go
note
ahead.
in my phone. I this question came up on the way here, and I wrote it down in a way I think is just so interesting. Have we stumbled upon a new law of nature where, at a certain scale of complexity, intelligence becomes inevitable emergent property? So that's like a lot to unpack, but is it that AI is going to keep getting so intelligent and keep learning so much that it's going to end up be able to become self-learning that it becomes and like is it going to become like an intelligent being? And that's where like AGI comes in because I'm sure AGI is a term that some people have heard. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's basically like the doomsday of
Yeah,
AI.
yeah, yeah.
So it's like AI,
iRobot or
yeah.
kind of stuff.
So AI right now, like I mentioned, it's a prediction engine. It's what goes into it. It knows on the data it analyzes. AGI comes once AI is able to self-learn and self-reason as humans do. Like humans, we can improve. We can listen to this podcast. We can take things away from it, and we're able to self-improve ourselves. Whereas AI is unable to do that as of now. There's reasoning, and there's a lot of studies that battle about can AI actually reason. I believe Apple just did a study on AI and found that reasoning actually doesn't exist in AI. It's more just pattern recognition and prediction, which it's you can read the study, it's or watch a video about it. It's really interesting. And to be honest, no one really knows where we're at with AI right now. Like where is it going? How fast is it actually growing? Is it just like simulated growth? Are we gonna like flatline? I have no clue.
For me, I mean, I look about it, I'm an optimizer, a systems person, an improvement person. I mean, all those things. So it's like for me, with looking at artificial intelligence, if it can make me 10% or 15 minutes or 15 minutes, 15% better, as a human being, where I can spend more time doing the things I want to do with the people that I want to do it
Yep.
with, spending more time with my kids and my wife
Yes.
and having experiences and et cetera, and living a higher quality of life, I don't know how I couldn't adapt it.
100%. And that's
But
that.
that's because I'm
Yes.
not a bad actor. Well, that's
Exactly.
what I like to tell people.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I think when, when this, I think the augmentate or not the augmentation rather, but the AIG, I think, that could always be a fear, but that could be a fear with it. Anything. Look at, if all of a sudden the government passed some rule, hot vaccines are a hot topic now, et cetera, where you have to take this vaccine that, is going to cause significant, I mean, anything could hurt
Yeah.
society if you,
I think
you
there's a
look at it.
really good opportunity long term for this to play out really good. Like I mentioned,
Imagine if it could evaluate your blood work, which it
it
absolutely
does.
do.
I do
And
that.
yeah,
I uploaded all my blood work
predict
from the yeah.
illnesses and issues and things like that. So at the end of the day, we'll wrap this up. If it can make society better, and we don't know what hurt it will provide, then at that point,
Yeah.
we just got to kind of keep rolling with it.
Yeah.
And then the
So
government, if it does, start, you would hope, or
yeah.
somebody would step in and kind of
Yeah.
say, okay, we're going to cut it off here.
So at the end of the day, it's gonna happen no matter what
Correct.
I think what is it, Murph's law, whatever is
Yeah.
gonna happen happens.
What's gonna happen
Yeah,
will happen or
it might be
something.
might
Yeah.
not be Murph's law, but it's one of them. But I think so. AGI is basically an AI that's just so good at everything. Like if it's self-learning, that means it technically could like pass the like bar. It could do literally anything, and that's where the risk comes in of like, okay, well, what are jobs? So that's just like to finish up that point. I think to end it on a good note, like the most optimistic view on AI, like you said, is it's gonna transform the world as we know it and solve so many day-to-day problems that we have to deal with, all of our rough spots in life, tasks we have to do, and it's gonna provide us more time to spend time with people we love, spend time doing what we love. I have been able to do that. I'm able to do so much now and accomplish so much, and yet I still have free time because of AI. And it's the same thing with my business partner. He has a family. He's been able to spend so much more time with his kids and his wife. Um, so it's really interesting there. And I think from a government perspective and like where this might go, I think there's an opportunity if things play out correctly and AI grows at the rate it's still going for it to replace a lot of jobs and the government to enable a it just hurts me to say because like I'm obviously I'm a capitalist. I believe capitalism is the only way to have a functional society now that generally benefits society. And I think down the road with AI, for the first time ever, we may, and this is something I've just like stumbled upon the last month or two with my business partner, is socialism and may actually become applicable because if AI is able to replace jobs and actually become the humans who, because it's gonna be the companies are gonna be so well optimized that it doesn't need employees anymore, and they're gonna be making so much money, and they're gonna be able to provide clean water for the entire world. It's gonna be able to provide food for the entire world, and we're gonna have so much higher production output that these companies are gonna be able to be taxed at a higher rate without destroying the companies and the CEOs of the companies, and that the amount of tax money that's going to be coming in is going to be able to support the lower class and the middle class to a point where we may actually reach a level of society that's self-sustaining without manual labor. I know that's like a lot to wrap your head around, but if you like really think about it, and this is going to be down the road, and this is assuming it plays out right. Usually with government, it doesn't. So, but I wanted to end it on an optimistic note that there's a chance that AI could just become so good that wealth is just like plentiful. Like we will have cars that can be made for $5,000, which means socialism. There's
Or if there's mass transport, or there's high-speed trains, or if there's, there's
it allows socialism to actually possibly apply in a very different way than socialism's framed now. So it's not maybe it's socialism's the wrong word, but more just I guess I don't know, maybe just
unity.
utopianism.
Utopic.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think utopic is probably the more accurate word to
because
use
modern
to
day
summarize.
socialism's a whole. It's
That's another rabbit hole we could definitely go down. But I think AI could, in theory, if you kept out the bad actors and kept moving things forward, could almost create a utopic society where it's like, the basic necessities could be provided. So but we'll be here to see it.
Yes, it's exciting.
So with that being said, incredible episode. I'm going to have to go back and watch this one a few times. Real quick, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, will.taubenheim.com.
I will put that in the description.
Yeah, put the text on the screen to spell out my last name. Or for more business purposes, lostframe.dev is where you can come see my website, or lostframedevelopment.com. You can follow me on Instagram, will.taubenheim on Instagram. Feel free to also just shoot me a text. I know this is bold putting my phone number out there, but 262-527-9863. I got an AI that analyzes everything that comes in anyways. So
perfect. There you go.
You're good to put that out. So I'm always interested in talking to business owners about how we can optimize. A lot of the work I do is actually not so much like you're a client. I actually like to work with them. And then a lot of what I build with these businesses, solving their bottlenecks, I go out and we then sell that to other business owners and commercialize it. So if you want to build AI with me and be a part of this wave, hit me up. So always looking for new opportunities.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you.
Yes.
Thanks so much for coming on. We'll see you guys next time.
Awesome. Thank you.